Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam. Tadeva shashvan manaso mahotsavam. Tadeva shokarnava shoshanam ninam. Yaduttama shloka yasho nugiyate. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam. Tadeva shashvan manaso mahotsavam. Tadeva shokaranava shoshanam nina. Yaduttama shloka yasho niguyate. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam. Tadesha shashvan manaso mahotsavam. Tadeva shokarnava shoshanam nina. Yaduttama shloka yasho nugiyate. Okay, there is no purport here, so maybe we'll read the word-to-word meaning and translation. Tat, that, eva, indeed, ramyam, attractive, ruchiram, palatable, navam, navam, newer and newer, tat, that, eva, indeed, shashvat, constantly, manasaha, for the mind, maha utsavam, a great festival, tat, that, eva, indeed, shokarnava, the ocean of misery, shoshanam, that which rise, ninam, for all persons, yat, in which, uttama shloka, of the all famous personality of Godhead, yasha, the glories, anugiyate, are sung. Translation: those words describing the glories of all famous personality of Godhead are attractive, are relishable, and ever fresh. Indeed, such words are a perpetual festival for the mind, and they dry up the ocean of misery. Those words describing the glories of the all famous personality of Godhead are attractive, relishable, and ever fresh. Indeed, such words are a perpetual festival for the mind, and they dry up the ocean of misery. The same conclusion is given by all the acharyas as how the verse describing the glories of the Supreme Lord. They can awaken the spirit soul from this deep slumber. They can detoxicate the intoxicated living entity. And therefore they can revolutionize the dark and dull life of the jiva, the living entity. So words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, they simply increase agitation of the mind. Whereas here in the verse it is described that those words which are describing the glories of the Supreme Lord, they are like a festival for the mind. Very relishable, very attractive, very nourishing. So it is the nature of the glories of the Supreme Lord that they can pacify and subside the agitations of the mind. We can see innumerable proofs of this. In the Shastras. For example, Arjuna. So Arjuna himself was very much begrieved and rather dunked and drowned the ocean of grief when Lord Krishna disappeared and manifested his pastimes from this planet. And Arjuna was completely broken down, not understanding anything, not knowing what to do, what to live for, and so on. In that predicament, he could not even fight with the infidel cowherd men who kidnapped the queens of Dwaraka. Arjuna could not even save them with all his skills, all his powers. So then Bhagavatam explains in this state of despondency, Arjuna is remembering the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and he is remembering that all his association with the Supreme Lord. And then he is remembering that yes, the Lord has not only given him the gift of his association, but the Lord gave him the supreme gift of his instructions. And then he starts remembering the instructions of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And when Arjuna is remembering the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, immediately Arjuna is getting the strength to go through the situation. Immediately Arjuna is agitated, or his mind is getting the nourishment. Arjuna is able to find out meaning and purpose to go ahead just by remembering these instructions of the Supreme Lord. So all kinds of mundane and sensuous subject matters simply agitate the mind, make the mind more restless. But it is the nature of the words which are glorifying the Supreme Lord to pacify the mind, to nourish the mind, to subdue the mind. So this is very true of Srila Sukadev Maharaj also, because Sukadev Maharaj himself, he was in a restless and confused state of mind. And that is why Srila Sukadev Maharaj, he himself was not coming out of his mother's womb only. He was in a very confused state of mind. So generally when people are bewildered, generally when people are confused, then they do activities which are quite eccentric. So we see the Sukadev Maharaj not coming out of the womb and deciding to use his powers to remain in the womb itself. Uh, in itself was uh, so that goes to show that this kind of so that itself proves that he was in a confused and bewildered state of mind, what to do, what not to do. On one hand, he's given a chance or a duty to come in the material world. On the other hand, he wanted to safeguard his spiritual fervor and not get enticed and entangled in this material world. So, what to do and how to do it and how to work it out, he was not able to understand. Therefore, he was not coming out itself. Finally, after 16 years, he agreed to the prayers of and the plea of Vyasadeva and agreed to come out on the condition that he will just come out and walk off. Walk off where? Where? He was not knowing. Walk off to do what? He was not knowing. So yes, indeed, he came out of the womb after 16 years, and as soon as he came out, he started walking off. But walking off towards the jungle. Which direction? No directionality. What purpose? No purpose. Where was the clarity? No clarity. So he was just on an exploratory note. In practical terms, this note is called as bewildered note.
Was he bewildered?
Yes, because there is nowhere to go, there is no goal to go. That is why a Brahmavadi has nothing to do and nowhere to go.
They don't have the lotus feet of Krishna to take shelter.
Yeah, so therefore there is no goal, there is no aim, there is no positivity, there is no positive rasa. So because of that, it is as good as a bewildered state, because although they are out of the clutches of the material energy, but then they don't know now what. So then they are simply roaming around. Exploratory note means no much clarity, and that is where Sukadev Goswami was. And because Sukadev Goswami was on that note, now that is exactly where Sukadev Goswami was. And then when he heard some of the villagers reciting verses of Srimad Bhagvatam, immediately Sukadev Goswami is getting clarity. So Sukadev Maharaj is getting clarity, Sukadev Maharaj is getting nourishment, Sukadev Maharaj is getting an awakening. And then he is running behind the villagers and catching, where are you? What is it? What is it that you are reciting? What is this? Where it is coming from? Whom you learnt it from? They said he learned it from Vyasadeva. And then Sukadev Maharaj is running back to Vyasadeva. So you see the point, that it is the glories of the Supreme Lord which can impart clarity, awakening, meaning. It is these holy glories of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, we see that that is the same reason why the sages of Naimisharanya, when they wanted to do welfare activities for the world, for the people of the world, they were not knowing how to bring that about. So they thought of coming together to do a yajna wherein only the glories of the Supreme Lord will be there. And this yajna was meant to bring about auspiciousness. This yajna was meant to bring about welfare. So, and that marked the setting of the discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam for the second time.
They were knowing now that there is no other way, so that's why they gathered glory.
Yeah.
They were knowing.
So there is no other way other than the holy glories of the Supreme Lord, which can bring about auspiciousness, which can bring about clarity, and which can bring about awakening. In the same way, we see in the pastimes of Sri Yamunacharya, when he was as a king, as Maharaj Alabandaru, he was again in an agitated and restless state of mind. Always running behind kingdom, never satisfied. Always running behind money, never satisfied. Ready to do anything and everything for the sake of money, for the sake of increasing his powers, never satisfied. Very much restless state of mind because he forgot his spiritual practices. He forgot his spiritual footing. And therefore, when Sri Ramamrishya proposed to him that your grandfather Nathamuni had left a treasure for you, as soon as he heard the word treasure, immediately he became ready. He said, okay, what am I supposed to do to get that treasure back? Anything I am ready to do for that treasure. He said, okay, come with me, alone, in the dead of the night. He said, all be it. So that means there is no footing, there is no solidity, there is no clarity, and therefore he was restless. You see, there is no footing. As soon as the word treasure was given, he was ready to risk his life, ready to go alone, not even take guards, not even take the driver, nobody, in the dead of the night. That means we see how lust and greed can make a person take risky trajectories and risky chores in one's life to such a degree that it's very dangerous in one sense. Ram Mishra could have been a suicide bomber terrorist, who knows? So, yeah, Ram Mishra could have been a suicide bomber. And Maharaj Alabandaru, with all his kingdom and all, he would have been just blasted in the dead of the night. Nobody knew also where he has gone. Because his body pieces would be flying around in the forest. Nobody could even later excavate it, where he went. So you see the point that how lust and pride or lust and greed make a person so restless and agitated. Well, now he is going with Rama Mishra in the chariot, and the chariot is running very fast. Now, when Rama Mishra starts reciting the glories of the Supreme Lord, start reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, that was the awakening for uh, Maharaj Alabandaru, and it was so relishable for him. And those words actually gave him the vision to take the darshan of the Supreme Lord Ranganath Swami and to understand that that is the deepest treasure of my life. So it is only the glories of the Supreme Lord which gives us solidity and fixity, which give us that awakening. So, and that is what happened to Srila Yamunacharya. So when he reached to the supreme treasure, that is the supreme treasure of service and sanidhita of their lordships, Lord Ranganath Swami, Sripad Yamunacharya could understand that this is where his life is meant for and nowhere else. He never went back to his kingdom. This is called as solidity. This is called as fixity. Whereas previously, he was simply running around conquering territories after territories. And so that is the agitated mind actually. Restless, agitated, nasty mind, making one run around here and there everywhere. So when he attained the lotus feet of Lord Ranganath Swami, he got that fixity and solidity. That is life. And so fixed and solid that no upheavals of lust and no floods of lust and greed can shake one up. Like that. Otherwise, it's an agitated, restless, nasty life. That's all.
It's like running after Microsoft, Apple, for this package, this package.
Yeah.
One day the spiritual master comes, open the eyes and
Yes.
shows the real treasure.
So Bhagavatam explains, therefore Bhagavatam explains that the living entity, therefore this materialistic life based on sensual sense gratification is called as Grihamandhakupam. It's a deep dark well where a person has jumped down, and how deep it is, that also nobody knows. How to come out of it, that also nobody knows. So the deep dark well and the Andhakupam, and one is simply increasing one's entanglements by a restless and agitated action plan of life. And there Srila Prabhupada writes that on one's own one cannot come out of it. One needs a rope given by the spiritual master. Only when one catches hold of this rope, which is given by the spiritual master, then only one can, and one catches hold of that rope very strongly, the instructions of the spiritual master, one catches hold of that very strongly, then one can come out of it. So that is why Srila Narad Muni is describing in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, that those words, we do not describe the holy glories of the Supreme Lord. These words are, uh, so he says these words are as good as waste. They are like a garbage dump. Simply a place where crows can fluff around. So the topics of sensuality is simply a pilgrimage for crows. That means it's a garbage dump where all the dirty substances are collected together. Waste, dirty, stinking, unhygienic, infectious. So the words do not describe the glories of the Supreme Lord, are like this pilgrimage for crows. Whereas he says, this is 1.5.10 and 1.5.11. And then he says that those words which describe the glories of the Supreme Lord, they are very pure. They have the potency to purify the atmosphere of the entire world and to awaken every living entity. Even though such words may not be perfectly composed, they may have literal grammatical faults and so on and so forth. But these words can create a revolution in the lives of people. And therefore, these words, they create the holy glories of the Lord are like a crystal clear water lake where swan-like people want to sport around. Where swan-like people want to sport around. So Srimad Muni speaks these two beautiful verses. I will receive from Bhagavatam. So we can clearly see that it is only the holy glories of the Supreme Lord which is food for the mind. Everything else is simply a poison and intoxication for the mind. So see 10 and 11. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. And then he says, on the other hand, a literature which is full of the descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes, etc., of the ultimate, unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation. It's full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Yeah. See, Srila Prabhupada is saying here, there is a qualification of great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from a stalk of poison, should accept gold from even a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife from even an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone, in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field. Yet, we see that previously there were both China and India, they lived very peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness. And every country over the surface of the world was God fearing, pure hearted, simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, curry, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of quarrel on the slight provocation. That is due not to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of the sage. Systematically, there is a propaganda by a section of people to stop the glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need of disseminating the message of Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much of quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change in heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempts to present this great literature, conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general, and re-spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with all the faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of the society will still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty Lord. When there is fire in the house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from neighbors who may be foreigners. Yet, without knowing the language, the victims of the fire express themselves, and the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast the transcendental message of Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on the slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect or censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature, yet it is in the marketplace because people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is a natural instinct. But because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but it will also supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing the reading of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature and other literatures which are catering poison to the society, will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults. For it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter. Okay, so let's stop here for today. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol.